For being with us. See you in a couple of days' time again, just proving you can have too much of a good thing.
Well, before that happens, let's talk to Labour's Shadow Housing Minister, Emma Reynolds, who's in our Birmingham studio. Emma Reynolds, I'll put the similar questions to you. Do you oppose the Conservatives' right to buy announcement?
Look, we support people's aspiration to own their own homes, but I'm afraid what we've seen today from the Conservative Party is what we're seeing in recent days, which is unfunded commitments. On this occasion, they say this is going to raise £4.5 billion, but as I think Andrew's interview with Liz Truss demonstrated, they're not entirely sure where these 15,000 high-value properties are going to come from, and independent experts have already said that this policy simply does not stack up.
Right, but you don't oppose it in principle, because you do support right to buy. You just don't want to extend it to the 1.3 million people in housing association properties.
We support right to buy, but we are also absolutely committed to only making promises that we can deliver, which is what we did yesterday in terms of the launch of our manifesto. Every single promise in our manifesto is fully funded and fully costed, and what we've seen today is another few £billion promised by the Conservative Party in a way that they just simply don't know where this money is going to come from.
Right, so you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't support it and you wouldn't do it. You will say to those people that because in your words you say it's unfunded, you can't get a discount to buy your own homes, even though we, the Labour Party, support right to buy. Never mind that we allowed 566,000 people in council homes to do exactly the same.
We support right to buy, but any system and any scheme must be fully funded. We will only go to the British people at this general election with a fully funded proposal on anything that we're promising. Everything in our manifesto is fully funded, whereas we've seen the Conservatives, even in the last 3 or 4 days, literally rack up billions and billions of pounds worth of promises that they simply cannot justify. No wonder they didn't want the Office of Budget Responsibility to examine the party's spending plans, because many of their spending plans, particularly those in the last few days, including this one today, simply does not stack up.
But you accept that it could be electorally, it could do staggeringly well for the Tories?
I think what is really important is that we tackle the housing crisis more broadly.
That's not the question I asked. Do you think it will appeal to people because it works staggeringly well for Mrs.
to buy their own homes, but I'm not going to make them any false promises that are funded on a wing or a prayer like the Conservative Party is doing today. They've said 15,000 high-value properties will be sold by councils, and we simply don't know where those properties are going to come from.
Well, let's talk about your housing policy. Are your plans to build 200,000 houses a year by 2020 fully funded?
Well, our objective of the 200,000 are not all going to be built by government. It's across the piece.
It's not fully funded,
different tenures.
is it?
So, well, it's a totally different kind of promise. We're saying there's a huge problem with the housing market. It's simply not delivering for people. Under this government, only 118,000 homes a year were built last year. We need twice as many.
Well, hang on a second, because you've just criticised the Tories for not having fully funded proposals. You've just admitted there yours are not fully funded. It's an objective, it's an aspiration. In fact, if we look at the amount of money in your Future Homes Investment Fund, the idea is it will be about £5 billion. Well, that would fund about 125,000 homes between 2015 and 2020. Nothing like 200,000 homes a year, which is what you are promising. It's not funded.
What I'm saying to you, Joe, is the difference between what we're saying on house building more generally is that we, as the government, will not be funding 200,000 homes a year. We are saying we have to tackle a housing crisis in which, as a country, we're not even building half of the number of homes we need. This is a problem that has long roots. We haven't built enough homes for decades now, and what we need to do is reform the way that the market works. We need more competition from small builders. Last time we were building 200,000 homes a year, small builders were delivering 2/3 of those new homes. But we also need to make sure that the planning system works correctly, that councils can tackle
so it's a long-term aspiration. It is a long-term aspiration. We're not going to have 200,000 homes built every year from 2015. But can I ask you about the childcare policy that has just been announced by the Conservatives? They've outbid you, haven't they, on the amount of childcare that is going to be offered to families?
Well, again, we've only just heard these proposals, but I thought that they were using the restriction on the tax relief on the richest people saving for the biggest pensions on their inheritance tax proposal. So I'm not entirely sure how the figures stack up. Again, I'm not entirely sure that they're not just making up a pot of money for this proposal. We have said that working families will have the option of 25 hours free childcare a week for 3 and 4 year olds, but also,
and now they're offering 30.
But also importantly, our proposals are about wraparound childcare at primary school, so that parents who are working, who have kids in primary school, can also go out and work and feel that they can do a good working day and pick up their kids at the end of that working day.
Emma Reynolds, thank you.
Thank you.
That's what I need, wraparound care. All right,
We'll arrange it for you.
You get it for me, Joko. Now, Leanne here.